So in this segment, we're going to be discussing the highlights, or you could say the lowlights, of Kemi Badenoch and her new cabinet team. So we're not going to be looking at Kemi in this one. We are going to be looking at her top team, and oh boy, is it fun. This is memory lane for me.
Out onto the street and
Our Shadow Home Secretary
gave an impromptu press conference.
That is a lie.
Videotape.
And then we went back to the talks. You're
having-
and you're a liar.
Let's TV
direct lie. You've also lied.
Go ahead.
So basically, he's talking about how he's mad at Chris Phillip is mad because what's his name? It went on. Sorry, I forgot his name. His name slipped my mind. That he went on TV and kind of maligned the government over talks. And he's mad about that, and then he consistently lied. The Tories lied a lot about the railway strikes, to be fair. And that's his name, Mick Lynch. Mick Lynch consistently called him out on it. This is one of my favourites. This is Claire Coutinho getting absolutely grilled as well.
I want to read a bit of your
by Sophie Ridge
speech to you, because there was one section of it that really struck me. You said, it's no wonder Labour seems so relaxed about taxing meat. So Keir Starmer doesn't eat it, and Ed Miliband is clearly scarred by his encounter with a bacon sandwich. You didn't write that, did you?
I did actually write that. I think, it's good to have a light moment in your speech as well.
The Tories, Conservatives once again fail on political humour.
But the point is
actually... They're not proposing a meat tax.
The point is actually very serious. So some of the things that Labour are proposing are incredibly hard for working families. So whether you have things like...
meat tax? That's what you're saying here.
Well, so the point is, they are proposing things which are pushing families too hard. So you've got things like the ULEZ tax expansion, which does cost families £12.50 a day.
It's not meat tax, though, is it?
But that is very difficult. And they've got things like proposing that you would decarbonise the electricity grid by 2030 again, which would result in very difficult choices for families.
Meat tax.
Again, these are things that have to happen anyways. Decarbonising the grid is important for achieving our climate change goals. So it's painful.
And their plans to push up inflation by borrowing £28 billion. So the point that I was making is quite serious. Yes, that was a light-hearted moment in the speech, but the point is actually dead.
Lies are light-hearted moments. Nice.
Serious that if you push people too far in this country, you will lose the cause of climate change, something that I'm passionate about because I think it's really important that we get there.
But genuinely, there isn't a meat tax.
Well, actually, if you try and push too hard, what you do end up with is people, and by the way, this has been part of the debate, talking about...
This like when Sunak talked about 7 bins, and that was debunked as well.
Discouraging people from eating meat. Now, as someone who's worked in government for some time, I can tell you when people tell you that they want to discourage people from eating meat...
I mean, reducing people's meat consumption is objectively a good thing, so...
What they mean
Where does this say that?
No, it's literally not a tax. That's like saying, oh yeah, we want to improve public transport to discourage people from using cars, and then she would come out and say, no, that's a tax on motorists. Like, are you stupid?
So when they talk about moving at the pace that they're moving, what they're implying is that difficult choices will have to be made. And we know from having carefully safeguarded this debate that when people talk about trying to do things faster and quicker, they do talk about things like discouraging people from eating meat. And
she just made a straw man and just failed to knock it down, really.
Their dietary requirements.
Keir Starmer's talked about people eating less meat, has he?
Well, I mean, Keir Starmer doesn't ever tell people exactly what he thinks, which is part of the problem.
That's the only sensible thing she said all interview.
We have tried to do is set out a really clear agenda on net zero so people know where we stand.
So yeah, Claire Coutinho, very unserious politician. And then we've got Priti Patel, who, she was sacked as a foreign secretary, I think it was under Theresa May, for having secret meetings with a foreign government. So yeah, she's back. We've got this absolute gem from Laura Trott, who couldn't read a table and couldn't understand basic maths, and she's a shadow education secretary, so it's a massive irony there.
Is how you can be even talking about tax cuts when a central pledge is getting debt down and debt is going up.
So the central pledge is one of our fiscal rules, which is that debt needs to be falling over the 5-year fiscal forecast as a percentage of GDP, which it is.
No, it's higher in 5 years than now.
Not as a percentage of GDP.
Yeah, no, it's higher. It's going up. It's lower in the 5th year relative to the 4th year. So it goes down at the end of the projection. But in 5 years, I think it's higher at the end of the project. Yeah, 23.4, 89% of GDP. 28.9, it's 93% of GDP. Debt goes up. It falls at the end of 5 years a little bit. But that doesn't mean debt is coming down. That means debt is going up. It's higher. It's higher in 5 years than now.
It's falling as a percentage of GDP. Is
No,
there,
it's
I think, is the
higher
point.
as a percentage of GDP.
I'm not sure. I think
This, honestly, man, like when I saw this originally, I was flabbergasted. When I see it now, I'm flabbergasted. I just can't believe she was this bad and she couldn't read a table properly and understand it.
This is really basic. I'm looking at the latest OBR table. Public sector net debt ex-Bank of England, 28.9, 92.8%, 23.4, 89%. So it's up in 5 years. Now, I'm amazed that you don't know that debt is rising, but you're the one who's planning.
Percentage of GDP, because
I'm looking at the percentage of GDP.
This is. I think I need to have the figures. I've got different figures, which I just.
Where did you get your figures from? Did you get it from him?
My source is that I made it the fuck up.
Where'd you get your sources from?
So I think we just need to.
Okay, let's just suppose if debt is higher on the OBR forecast in 5 years than now, you couldn't possibly be cutting taxes while your pledge is that debt should be falling.
The point is that we have our fiscal rules, and within those we have an amount of headroom. So we will only do things that are fiscally responsible and
cutting national insurance the way they did it was not fiscally responsible based on the fiscal rules they had set out.
In our fiscal rules.
It's a really, really big point, this, isn't it? And one of us has obviously got it wrong. I think I'm looking at the right table, and I think I'm looking at the right line. And it's possible that the figures will all change. But at the moment, it looks to me like debt is higher in 5 years than it is now. And you're still talking about tax cuts. And I'm just wondering how you do that if you're pledging debt falling is one of your key 5 pledges.
The reason they did this national insurance cut was kind of a bribe to voters to say, look, we've lowered your taxes. Can you vote for us now?
Percentage of GDP over the 5-year forecast. Yes,
and I'm looking
we
at
would
the
always
percentage of GDP line. That's the only relevant one.
I think she's trying to say it will come down in year 5 relative to year 4. Therefore, it's coming down as a percentage. Debt has come down as a percentage of GDP, but obviously he's talking about the full term, which is not, because it'll go up and then rebound slightly less.
I think that we've always said that we will only do things within our fiscal rules and where it is affordable for us to do so. So yes, we want to cut taxes. We believe that drives growth, but we will only do it if it sits within our fiscal rules.
Laura Trott, interesting conversation. We should probably both go and look at the books, make sure we haven't made a mistake. But obviously, really interesting point about whether debt is going up or going down on your watch. Laura Trott, Chief Secretary to the Treasury. Thank you so much.
Just crazy, isn't it? Like this is her top team. Like this is her top team. Her Shadow Home Secretary Chris Phillip, a liar. You've got what's her name, Claire Coutinho, just making things up about meat taxes. You've got Priti Patel, who was sacked for having secret meetings. You've got Laura Trott, who can't read a graph properly. And Shadow Justice, who wants to quit the ECHR, Robert Jenrick. Shadow Chancellor wants to take away maternity rights. Shadow Foreign Secretary, Priti Patel, was sacked. So, not great, really. Oh, yeah, of course, don't forget Priti Patel bullied a civil servant as well. Let's not forget that. So, not great. Her belittling the people who are mad at Partygate, as this person Don McGowan points out. She kind of belittled Partygate, and then despite the fact that people were furious that you had members of the government partying and celebrating whilst other people couldn't even say goodbye to their loved ones. That's their last chance to ever see them, the last conversations they could ever have with people, and that was taken from them by the Johnson government whilst they were partying and having a laugh. Wine Time Fridays or whatever it was called. Just crazy. That's her team. I'm flabbergasted. Anyways, I'm going to leave it there. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Like, comment, share, subscribe. Support the channel on Patreon if you can. And hopefully I'll see you in the next one.